The NBA did not ban super teams. It did something colder. It made them harder to fix.
For years, expensive NBA teams had a familiar escape hatch. If the roster got costly, pay the tax. If the bench got thin, use an exception. If the fit got awkward, combine contracts and make a trade. If the bill got ugly, spend your way through it.
But the new NBA has a different kind of punishment. Once a team crosses a line called the second apron, money stops being just a bill. It becomes a wall. And that wall is changing how contenders are built, how quickly expensive teams get broken up, and why the next super team may die before it becomes a dynasty. This is Dead Money Diary. Today, we're breaking down the NBA rule that is killing super teams. The NBA Finals just gave the league its latest case study. The Knicks beat the Spurs to win the championship, and the confetti is still fresh. But this is not a Finals recap. It's about the rulebook waiting for every contender after the trophy gets lifted. Because while fans celebrate the finished product, front offices are already asking the expensive questions. Who gets paid? Who gets traded? Who has to leave? And who is about to become too expensive to keep? That's where the second apron matters. The NBA has a salary cap, but it's a soft cap. Teams can go above it to re-sign their own players, use certain exceptions, and make salary-matching trades. For years, the luxury tax was the big scary line. Spend too much, and ownership writes a painful check. For the richest teams, though, it was still mostly a money problem. If the owner paid, the front office still had ways to maneuver. The second apron changes the question. It's no longer just, will the owner pay? Now it's, even if the owner pays, what is the team no longer allowed to do? Think of the NBA's system like a staircase. First comes the salary cap, then the luxury tax, then the first apron, then the second apron. Each step adds restrictions. But at the second apron, the system starts feeling less like a tax and more like a trap. Teams can face tighter trade rules, lose useful exceptions, and lose the ability to combine salaries in certain deals. Cash becomes harder to use in trades. Stay above the line long enough, and future draft pick flexibility can become a problem too. The rulebook is dense. The story is not. The second apron makes expensive rosters harder to repair, and in the NBA, repair tools are how teams survive mistakes. That's why this rule hits super teams so hard. Super teams concentrate money into stars, 2 or 3 massive salaries, cheaper role players around them, draft picks sent out to build a championship window right now. When it works, it looks unstoppable. But one injury, one bad fit, or one role player becoming too expensive can change everything. Suddenly, the team doesn't just need talent, it needs options. Package 2 contracts for one better player. Use an exception. Send cash. Take another swing. The second apron can close those exits. That's the real penalty, not just the tax bill, the loss of optionality. Optionality sounds like front office jargon until your team doesn't have any. It means choices. It means exits. It means admitting one plan failed and trying another. The second apron doesn't just make a roster expensive, it can make that roster stiff. And stiff rosters are dangerous because the NBA changes fast. A contender can look complete in October and one player short in May. A reasonable contract today can become untradeable 2 summers later. A team can win the press conference and lose the spreadsheet. That's why moves that look cheap may actually be defensive. Letting a useful player walk looks cheap. Trading a popular veteran looks cheap. Refusing to add one more name looks cheap. But sometimes the front office isn't reacting to the player, it's reacting to the line. Phoenix became the clearest warning label. The Suns built around Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. That's the kind of trio fans dream about. It's also the kind of roster that can run out of repair tools fast. 3 huge salaries make the bench thinner,
trade paths narrower, and the margin for injury or bad fit smaller. Beal's no-trade clause tightened the problem even further because one of the biggest contracts was also one of the hardest to move. The apron didn't cause every Phoenix problem. Basketball, health, and fit still matter. But the financial structure determines how many ways a team can respond. Boston shows the championship side of the same problem. The Celtics built what every team wants: stars, depth, defense, shooting, and a roster good enough to win it all. But even success gets expensive. Once a title team stacks major salaries, extensions, veteran depth, and tax payments, the question changes from "Can this group win?" to "How long can we keep it together before the bill removes our options?" Denver has lived that conversation too. The Nuggets won a championship with a superstar, a paid core, and exactly the right connective players. Then Bruce Brown left. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope left the next offseason. Those weren't random names. They provided defense, spacing, experience, and trusted playoff minutes. Replacing that production cheaply becomes essential when an expensive core leaves little room for error. Every contender now has two clocks running. The basketball clock asks, "How long can this core win?" The financial clock asks, "How long before this core traps us?" Those clocks don't always match. You still need stars. That hasn't changed. But now you also need cheap production, draft picks who can play, movable mid-sized contracts, and veterans who fit without forcing another expensive patch. The second apron doesn't tell teams they can't have expensive stars. It tells them, if you choose that path, don't expect unlimited ways out. That's the shift. The old luxury tax punished ownership's wallet. The second apron punishes the basketball operations movement. And that's worse. Money can be justified when a team is chasing a title. Lost flexibility can turn one mistake into a multi-year problem. The finals show us the finished product. The offseason shows us the bill. Around the league, every contender is looking at the same map. Can we keep our stars? Can we keep enough depth? Can we add the missing player? And can we recover if this version isn't enough? The move that makes fans angry in July may have been decided by the cap sheet months earlier. The contract a team refuses may not be about whether the player is good. It may be about whether the next move disappears after signing him. That's the hidden power of the second apron. It changes the cost of being wrong. So, no, the NBA did not ban Superteams. It changed the punishment for building an expensive roster that still needs help. In the new NBA, the most dangerous number on a contender's cap sheet may not be the max contract. It may be the line above it. The second apron. Championships are won on the floor, but more and more, they're lost in the spreadsheet. If this helped you see the business side of sports differently, please like the video, subscribe to Dead Money Diary, and comment with the sports money rule you want broken down next. This is Dead Money Diary. Before the news breaks, the numbers already did.